The Witching Hour, where you're invited to tune in and drop out. Join us and settle in as you're guided through a trilogy of healing journeys to awaken, connect, and inspire. This is The Witching Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. This is The Witching Hour, and I'm Jenny, and I am here with Mandy and Leah. Mandy, how are you doing?
I am doing well, feeling really grounded. I'm in South Jersey, and we're being hit with a tropical depression today. So there's been lots of flash flooding. My garden's a little flooded. There's been lots of rain and wind, but it's also been kind of nourishing, and I think it's been a wild energy week. So I kind of needed a down day, so I'm appreciating it very much. How are you doing?
Loving this day, just north of Albuquerque, beautiful sunny day. In the Southwest here, you will see occasional houses with air conditioning or central air units, but our house, like many houses here, has a swamp cooler. And a swamp cooler is not like a central air conditioning unit, but it is set up like one where it pushes cool air, but it uses a fraction of the cost. We ran our swamp cooler, which kept it about 70 degrees in here, so typical of what you might have an air conditioner or a central air conditioning unit set at. Our whole electric bill for the month was $60. And we, do lots of laundry and dishes. We're here all the time utilizing the lights and electric. So it is the most efficient way to cool your house. And I asked my boyfriend, I'm like, because he's from the Midwest and lived in the South too, I'm like, why don't they have them there? They spend so much money on cooling. He goes, it doesn't work very well in humid climates. It's more of a dry climate space. So that's why you see them out here. So I'm just learning all these cool new eco-friendly ways to cool a house in the Southwest. And of course, I live in an Adobe-style house, so it has tile everywhere, which stays cool and keeps the temp inside cool. I just love eco-friendly living, so I just wanted to share that. Leah, how are you doing?
I am doing well. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, having the opposite experience. It is incredibly humid here. And has been really differently jungly the past couple of weeks. We've experienced this really crazy new for Tennessee weather pattern in Chattanooga. We get a lot of rain here anyway, but about every day for the past 2 weeks around 4 or 5 o'clock we get a thunderstorm, kind of like you do like down in Florida by the coast, and it'll storm and just dump rain for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then it stops and the sun comes back out. So it's beautiful. I love jungle weather and jungle climates, and I think with, the ascension process and climate change, probably in this area of the U.S., we're going to see a little bit more of that weather, it feels like. So I'm in my workspace, and I'm looking out over my altar, and the trees are so overgrown that I can't see any houses in the neighborhood behind me. I've been waking up in the morning and the windows are just like fogged over because we do run AC. It's been like 90 something degrees when the sun goes down. And it's hot, it's humid, and it's wet, it's balmy, but the nature, of my yard is just green and abundant, and it's so nice. It's just really a beautiful grounding reminder of like expansion and the continuation of like we're moving even though we don't really know where we're going. So that's I'm kind of enjoying the season as it is right now. Feels like things are moving really quickly. It's already, midway through July almost. But we're still out here. We're still doing it somehow.
It's so cool. We are still doing it. It's so cool. I remember moving to Middle Tennessee, and it was just pouring all the time. And I'm like, surely they get more rain than even Seattle. And I was kind of joking with myself because I didn't think that they did, because Seattle's notorious for the rain, right? Mm-hmm. So I looked it up, same amount per year. Mm-hmm. It's just that Seattle gets like sprinkles and mist all year long, where Chattanooga will pour for certain parts of the year,
Oh, man, yeah.
So I can't remember the inches per year, but they're the same. And I was like, oh, man, I don't think people realize how much rain that south area gets. But you can see it. You go through the summer, like Leah said, it's green everywhere. It's lush, got fairy energy everywhere. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful space. So let's get going on one of these topics. I think that we'll start with the karmic lesson at hand here. We had a little prequel to the lesson, the karmic lesson at hand, with the first part of COVID, and we're seeing the response to when people don't take heed to a contagious virus. We have to go back into probably some sort of shelter-in-place mode. So this is just a classic case of we didn't learn our lesson the first time. Hopefully we can get it the second time. No big deal. We're learning as we go. But this is requiring everybody to put everything on pause, graduations, weddings, unless you want to do it virtually, which is fine too. Everything on pause, business opportunities, business movements, traveling. It's requiring everyone to push pause and to really face the reality that's always been there, but is becoming more and more clear, which is we don't know what the future holds. And the cataclysmic energy around us is making that so clear. Now, that was the case before Corona. It's just that our imagined, very real, simulated life that we live has very realistic feeling rules. And before Corona, those rules felt more real than ever before, which is you get up, you go to work or school, you come home, you eat, you might go out on the weekend, you go to everyone's birthday parties, and you celebrate every holiday. And that was the desired momentum of the typical human person. That is being shaken up like nobody's business because you can't travel. You can't do things as you've always done them. There's not a stencil in place anymore. And people like me never followed the stencil anywhere, and I'm betting you girls never did hardly either. But there is a stencil that a lot of people follow, and that is going to really bring forth a lot of depression, unknowing, uncertainty. Well, this is where us mystics come in, right? We come in and say, the reason I call myself a mystic is I believe in the great mystery. I don't have to have any science or rules or absolutes or facts. I believe and like to play in the mystery. And that puts me in a good space to come at everything objectively and to know that it is a mystery. That's the design of it. We come here with amnesia. We're very high souls and knowing souls. We come here with amnesia. And we don't want to remember everything. And we want to go with the flow and go with the flow of not knowing with as much ease and grace as we can. Now, you get better at that as you age, soul-wise and physical age. So that's a big one. That one's not going away. When the Corona when everyone went back to normal, so to speak, or tried to after the first wave of Corona, I was like, oh, bummer. That wasn't enough to shock anyone. That was just a little bump in the road. And then here we come again for the big splash, which is going to keep us out of our regular life for quite some time and never allow us really to go back. And as scary as that sounds, don't let that consume you. Be an energy alchemist and change that energy into curiosity. Curiosity of how we're going to grow this space in a more productive, sustainable, loving environment. It can happen. The shit show has to come down, though. And you can see it falling all around. So typical normal response is to be fearful and uncertain. The high spiritual response is to alchemize that energy into more productive energy, which is curiosity of what it's going to look like and how we can help, even if it's just putting good thoughts toward it. Doesn't matter. Ladies, you guys want to come in on that or start a new topic?
Leah, you want to go?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I love it. And I think for me on a spiritual level, and just what I'm seeing for myself and for all of my lovely soul family and clients and just everyone I know, this is also an opportunity in deep trust. We are really facing the unknown in so many different ways, and our structures are falling. Major companies are going bankrupt. Things are shifting and changing. However, many of the sensitive souls on this earth have wanted to change. You know, this has been a little bit of an empath's dream to not have to go to lots of places with lots of people and be forced to do so many things all the time. But it's also an opportunity to really think about okay, what is it that I believe in? Just as Jenny was talking about and describing the mystic, which I loved that definition. That was beautiful, Jenny. But it's just really about what is this about right now, and what do I personally have control over in this situation when it seems like so many potential material things and opportunities and plans are being ripped away? What can I do to put my energy towards a way to build trust and to alchemize? So I really like that you brought that up, Jenny.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a heavy-hitting lesson. It's going to take time. And I tell all my clients and remind myself, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is going to be a marathon of events and movements and order and trial and error and learning curves. And this is the curiosity that will be so helpful that I speak of hashing out what this new future looks like, getting curious enough to get involved and start sending energy to it, as opposed to going into the non-productive energy of, oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh my God, what are we going to do? Again, that's normal. You can do that, feel that energy. It's normal. It's very human. It's inside you, but then compartmentalizing it and harnessing it. A physicist will tell you energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transmuted, transformed, and alchemized. And I'm sure there's some other words too we could use, but that is what it is. So be an energy alchemist. It's free. It just takes practice. It's like yoga. You can bend over and touch your toes for free at home.
And it's in the small moments. Like I really noticed for myself the other day, some things went on in my home and I was like frustrated, and I'm like, okay, I can sit here and be frustrated about this, or I can go ahead and transmute this energy and use it for something different. So I did like a 10-minute yoga to reevaluate, and then I did some breathing exercises, and before I know it, I wasn't even thinking about what it was that was irritating me, and I was on a completely different energetic vibration and calling in different things. And this is the work that we all talk about. It literally is work. It takes 5 seconds. If you follow the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins, if anyone wants to look her up, she is an empowerment coach, I believe, and a motivational speaker. But she really studies the science behind motivation and talks about how if you want to make a change, you have to pair it with actual life force and energy behind it. So say you want to go to the gym and you're sitting on the couch and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym now, and you don't act on that impulse within 5 seconds, then that impulse goes away, and before you know it, it's about 10 more minutes, and you're like, okay, now I should go to the gym, or now I should go to the garden or for a walk or whatever it is. And so it's really about pairing these conscious impulses that we're getting with this beautiful life force energy that lives within us and connecting the dots. And you will not feel like it often. You often have to force yourself into it just a little bit. And then once that energy opens up, then you begin to feel like it.
And then balancing that energy too, because you're right, it does take inspiration and that to be inspired to get the energy going to do it. But what I've noticed is people will then get addicted to that and only do that, which then is the other side of
Absolutely.
It's too young, so being in that middle space. And then if your body says no after you get going for a few seconds, that's a no. Sit down to yin, so just listening to that and being present with that will be huge lessons in the future for everyone in their discernment, which pulls me into the jealousy topic that I think that we'll bring to the table.
Oh, yeah.
So jealousy is an ego energy, just like anxiety, fear, hate, stress, whatever, it's greed, it's ego energy. So I'm going to walk everyone through energy alchemy processes. I like to do it over and over again because it's sometimes just new information and it's hard to think about managing our energy and alchemizing it, but we do have that power. So when someone's feeling jealousy, it has a little bit different twang than anxiety. So I'll start with this and then we'll go into the technique. Jealousy is mostly an energetic discord around insecurity. I'm not blanket statementing anything. This is generalized information, and we can go into detailed situations if everyone wanted to. Just get a hold of us. We do sessions, the Alchemy Sisters in Greenwich Village. But when you're feeling the energy discord, because remember, you're 99.999% light energy from source. These energies of ego are outside sources very often, and they feel like they're in you. And that's how they've gotten away with being your default feelings, fear, stress, going right to that. Well, you can change those feelings by recognizing they're there, recognizing there's some healing that needs to be done. It looks a little different for each emotion, but the technique of energy alchemy lies the same, which is knowing you're thinking it, first of all, often we go there in default, like I said, recognize you're thinking it. Stop yourself in mid-thought. It's hard to put on the brakes. I mean, that truck is 100 million pounds and however years old you are old. So it's hard to stop that. But if you can, and believe me, don't get mad at yourself if you can't. That's more fuel to the fire. That's more ego on ego. We don't want it. We're alchemizing ego with love and acceptance and care and compassion and curiosity. So when a feeling like jealousy comes in, yes, we can get into some root things, but the technique is to stop yourself in full stop and say, hey, this isn't good for me. This is I'd be better off going taking a teaspoon of rat poison right now is what this is doing to my body. So once you start rationalizing with that ego energy, whether it be jealousy, fear, hate, greed, whatever, it loses its velocity. It's gained so much power because it has you fooled that it's in control and it's inside you and you can't control it. That's how it's had its upper hand. Well, when you take your power back, which is taking your power back from that energy so it gets smaller, so you get a leg up on it. And then you can rationalize it away and at least compartmentalize it. Because jealousy can probably sit with envy, and there's some good energies around those ego energies. For example, if you're jealous, you might aspire to be like somebody. So if you can change the dynamics to aspire, wow, there's really something that I might be missing in myself that I like in another person that I don't have. That is just a cue for me to fill in that hole and to gain that. Because it's just a sign like any other ego emotion or energy. It's just a sign of something that needs to be healed, just like a sore shoulder would be a sign to stretch it or get a massage or whatever. These are all signs. You're not to shame these signs. That's more fuel on the fire. Again, ego loves it when you cover ego with more ego. It loves it. It wants you to do it. Do you want to do what ego wants you to do? No. You want to do what love wants you to do, which is what you really are. So, again, we'll walk through it again. Any emotion like jealousy, fear, stress, anxiety comes into your feelings, thoughts, head, body, whatever you want to call it, however you feel it. You recognize it's there, full stop. Tell it what it's doing to your body. Tell it how you don't want it to do that to your body and how you're going to keep it at bay, because things like fear do have a mechanism. They're for to keep you safe from lions and tigers and cliffs and shit. That's the design of it, to protect you, to hit your adrenals to save your life. We wear that adrenal out with running our fear and worrying, especially in this time. So we've overused it, like we've overused a lot of things in our body and systems in our body, hence you can see all the autoimmune disorders. So what we do is we take our power back from that emotion that is tapping us. So you get a leg up on it. You tell it all the bad things it's doing to your body and how it's not helpful. You've got a leg up on it. Compartmentalize it, compartmentalize it, compartmentalize it. You keep practicing it. It will get smaller. And then you have all these boxes of ego energy that you can use as tools if need be in a situation. Meaning, if someone wants to attack you verbally or someone around you and you feel like defending them because you got a set on you that day, you bring up these egos. You can use them there, right? That's where it becomes a love ego. And ego gets a bad rap, right? Everyone's like, oh, get rid of it, don't have it. Mm-hmm. And that's not true. It can be utilized heartfully. Now, are we perfect with heartfully utilizing it? No, it's like perfectly utilizing fire. I catch shit on fire accidentally all the time. Like, oh, that was a piece of paper too close. Or, it's nothing too dangerous, but it happens. It gets out of control. You have to watch it with it. But you can utilize it, and it can be a tool. So that was a long-winded answer. So I'm going to hand it back over to you, ladies.
That's so beautiful, though, because it's really an energy rising right now. And as we're, having a hard time trusting in the unknown and what's coming, some envy or jealousy or things like that are rising. There's some competition for jobs or time or space or different things. So, and it's something we haven't really shed a lot of light on, and I needed to learn more about. So I wanted to bring that up, and you so beautifully answered it. Thank you, Jenny. Leah, do we have anything going on astrologically that our listeners might want to be aware about, or you might want to encourage them to do at this time?
Well, there are, so many retrogrades that have been happening. We're coming right to the end of Mercury retrograde, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Like 2 more days.
yeah. So we're right there at the end. We are deep into Cancer season, and I am a Cancer sign at Cancer rising, and I'm a Leo moon. So this type of year, I've always been kind of like a summer water baby anyway, but, as I grow and ascend and the more that my gifts develop, I become really, really, really deeply just like into Cancer season. Every year it gets more and more and more intense for me. And so the beautiful thing about Cancer is, Cancer is ruled by the moon. This is our inner mother archetype, right? Our caregiver. So like this weekend, my birthday is actually Monday. So I've got friends coming into town today that are going to be visiting, and we're hanging out this weekend.
Birthday.
Thank you. And I've been so excited to see everybody, but my inner Cancer is like planning out everybody's meals and where are they going to sleep and do they have clean sheets. And I'm just getting like so sucked into wanting to care for people, even though this is, a weekend to essentially celebrate, it's all of us, but like me, right? And so what Cancer does is it has us in this really beautiful energy of nourishment, right? And so it's really easy for us to put that out to other people. But as we were talking about where the energy is like right now, especially as these ego energies of like jealousy and fear and insecurity come up, and they are so prevalent in our everyday lives right now, right? Can we channel the energy of the mother of Cancer to come back to ourselves and give ourselves that nourishment that we are so quick to give others this time of year, right? And really enjoy for those of us who, are still, sheltering in place, or if you're going back to shelter in place. We're not doing any of that in Tennessee right now, but like, if you were in this chapter where you were once again grounded at home, really, really fall into the energy of just grounding in your home, right? And not just, yes, your physical dwelling, but like your physical body, right? And energetically, how does your energy feel, and how can you fill up your own cup and just allow the cyclical light of the moon to connect you with the cycles of your body. And then Cancer is also, in a lot of ways, the seat of our intuition. So even though we're at this, peak of the seasonal wheel as far as light here on this side of the hemisphere, intuitively, energetically, I believe with Cancer, we are really, really able to start to see things, right, third eye center, in a much more clear way if we can carve out the space for that nourishment and learn to listen. So, and there's so much, like Venus is in retrograde for a long time. Mercury went back. I think like Mars is in Aries right now too for a long time, which is going to be really hectic. So there's a bunch of stuff that's happening right now. And it feels like, we're in this collective shift. The world is changing. The paradigm is falling, right? We are watching the death process of this old earth before the new earth emerges. And it feels like we are being called to sit within the chaos and really, really get to know ourselves, love ourselves up, feel ourselves up, so that when, things ramp back up again and things get, really wild and really crazy, we have this connection, right, this seed of intuition, and we've taken the time to nourish ourselves. So this Mars and Aries energy is going to feel really conflicting in many different places, right? And so taking the time for the rest of the couple weeks that we have in Cancer season to really just like pour ourselves in with the self-love, and of course love on the people around you too if you've got the space for it. But really make it about coming back to yourself and listening to the intuition and feeding that connection, so that when we move back into the fire sign of Leo on the other side of this, right, and things begin to heat up once again, we can remain connected and trust. And then that way, with that trust and that seed of intuition, when these negative emotions, this ego energy starts to come through, we can really know and feel how we're alchemizing and trust that we can see ourselves to the other side from our seed of knowing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leah Sugar, this is Greenwich Village speaking on behalf of the cosmos. I love it, Leah. That was incredible. That had incredible passion, incredible knowledge, and I loved it. That was great. But I think I'm going to take a little quick break there. We're going to pop to a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to trip. We're going to take some journeys. All right, we'll be back in a minute, everyone.
You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio, a network of shows offering healing and guidance for your beautiful journey. Tune in on Mondays for the Alchemy Sisters, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, tune in and tune up. Body awareness and self-care, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, One for All is Love, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, Unbound with Cynthia Martin, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Fridays, The Witching Hour with Green Witch Village and the Alchemy Sisters, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, Rain Radio, 10 Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, Creating Heaven on Earth, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the Heart Over Ego Radio Network.
Welcome back, everybody. This is The Witching Hour, and you are here with myself, Jenny McDaniel. We have Mandy Elam and Leah Sugar. We are also known as the Alchemy Sisters and Green Witch Village. We are here every other Friday, taking you on a journey of meditation, shamanic journeys, guided journeys. There's a lot of words you can use, but we also use the word imagery. So I'm going to start us off, and I want to give everyone a heads up that we're going to have a little different guide. So if you look back, or listen back, I should say, to some of our archived episodes, you'll know that we're going to be on the fourth planet of the 7 in the Pleiades star constellation, or star system, however you want to say it. But we have a new guide. I've known since I moved to New Mexico that my connection to the aliens, and I mean connection meaning telepathic and channeling connection, was going to get heightened, and I didn't know to the extreme, and I think I'm just touching in on it, so it's going to get even more extreme. But often the Pleiadians will guide us to their own home planets, but we have a new guide, and this is a Venetian. So these are the new ones I'm working with. They're from what we call Venus, and it wouldn't necessarily be the dimension that we're on, but a different dimension, as if the fairies are in a different dimension on our planet. The Venetians live in a parallel planet, so to speak, to Venus. So we have our new guide, and we're just going to call him the Venetian. He's fine with that, and it keeps everything straight. So if everyone will follow along with your mind's eye, and we're going to start off with some nice relaxation techniques, and then we'll be off into the parallel journey, and then I'll hand us off to Leah, and then Mandy will follow up after Leah. All right. We'll start by finding our breath. You do this by noticing your breathing. When you notice your breathing, you bring awareness to your breathing. And your breathing gets deeper and slower, just naturally. Your spirit guides are coming in more clear as the veil gets thinner. And the veil gets thinner by bringing our subconscious mind forward. That is that daydream mind. So focusing on your breath again and making it nice and deep and slow and rhythmic. You'll notice every time you breathe, you become more relaxed. You could move your body, but you have no desire to do so. And you'll notice your shoulders coming out of your ears, your muscles relaxing and becoming less tense. You do a quick scan over your body to see if there's any spot holding extra tension or tightness. You can put your awareness in that area and breathe into it and relax it. And reminding your subconscious mind as it takes the driver's seat, really no one's driving, it will start to bring you into a space of deeper relaxation, just knowing that that subconscious mind is coming forward. And what I'll have you do is follow along with your mind's eye now that you're in this relaxed state, and reminding you every time you breathe, you become more and more relaxed. There is a field of rolling hills as far as your eyes can see are rolling fields. The grass is perfectly green. The sun is out. The sky is blue. As far as your eyes can see are rolling hills. Luxurious green grass, stimulating your heart chakra, catching that blue in the sky, going right into your third eye. And you'll notice you'll start to feel the sun. It is so warm. You'll feel it on your skin. And you'll also feel it go past your skin, into your muscle, and into your bone. You can feel that sun just nurturing you and giving you warmth and strength and vibrations that are beyond Earth's capabilities. As it warms your core and your bones, you feel it going into your nervous system, cooling it. Even though the sun is warm, it can be transmuted into cool energy. And we cool out your adrenals. Excellent. And you'll notice in this rolling hill field, the field of rolling hills, you'll notice that there's one tree alone. You and I are sitting knee to knee underneath it. We're all sitting underneath the tree, knee to knee. And down comes the Venetian, not in a spaceship. And the Venetian looks a lot like Jesus, a little more see-through, but has that roby thing going on. And I say, are we going to teleport? And the Venetian said, you know it, sister. And I say, all right, everyone, close your eyes. And when you open, we're going to be in the dimension of Venus. So 1, 2, 3, we're there. That's how quick it goes. And as you open your eyes, you'll notice that there is water everywhere. It's so tropical. There's green grass. There's trees, all kinds of trees. There's birds. There's animals running. It looks like the Garden of Eden. And they're winking at me saying, yeah, they're connected. And I go, I bet. So we're going to walk around the jungle. Yay, Leah, it's your place. And so we're going to notice that there's animals that look a lot like the animals that we have here, but some of them look a lot different. And as we walk through, we're just really taking in the beautiful colors and the dampness in the air, but yet dry enough to not feel uncomfortable. It's perfect weather. It's incredible. You can tell the gravity's different. And as we continue walking through what appears to be a jungle, being led by the Venetian, he goes, keep coming. We're not there yet. And as we keep going, we go for a significant amount of time, and then there's a clearing, and there is a large city. So like out of the woods is this large city, and all the buildings are made of emerald. And there's a couple other gemstones representing themselves, but most things look very emerald. And the Venetian is laughing and giggling at my depiction to everybody. And we keep walking toward these many structures, the city, town, city, of short and tall structures of what appear to be emerald. And the guide is agreeing, indeed, this is emerald. You'll get some jade every once in a while, he says, but it's mostly emerald. Either way, it's gorgeous. And I'm starting to see more beings like he. Some are female and some are male. And they're just kind of milling around. They appear to be kind of floating a little bit. And they're just milling around, getting what appears to be herbs and maybe some biscuits or something. I don't know. They're doing some shopping. And the guy's like, come through the city. We're going to a special place. I got something to tell you. And I'm like, excellent. And so on the way there, this Venetian, our guide, so gracefully pulling us through the busy center there, getting us more into a spaced out area. He said, we're going to go to a place that is going to bring in an incredible amount of beauty and heart chakra energy so that you all can push it into your planet. And then, of course, we've been pumping you full of it too, just like the Pleiadians and the Syrians and all the others. And I say, we'll take all the help we can get. Thanks, Vanish. And he shakes his head at me and just keeps bringing us forward. And I noticed that we're getting more spaced out. Things are still emerald, the buildings, but we're getting more spaced out. And up ahead, I see a very, very tall building because that's the university. That's got every crystal and gemstone available to most galaxies in the multiverse in that building. And I go, sweet. That's exactly what I was hoping we'd walk into. Had no idea what that was going to be, but that would be on my top of my list to go to. Yes, thank you. So we just keep walking, very tall. It still appears to be emerald, but I can see its different shades and tones all through it. And as soon as we walk through the door, we shape shift. And we now look like Venetians. And we look like we're robed out Jesus types. And sandals and everything. We just keep walking in. All of us keep piling in. There's enough room for all of us. Time and space, after all, doesn't exist. And as we pile into what appears to be a single room that we walked into in this academy or university, he says, now come with me to the observatory. And so we just go to this large room where we all sit down in wooden chairs. You guys got trees here? They're like, no, we got that from you. I go, oh, thanks. They're like, no, we actually can grow it and regrow it here. We harvest it here, but we got the idea from you guys. And I go, what's a nice material? It's true. So he sits us all down. He goes, now I got some things to tell you. He goes, this is basically the Pleiades, but this planet, the reason I'm guiding you is because it's very Venus-like and Venetian in nature. And I volunteered to work with Jenny a long time ago, and I volunteered to take them to the Venetian-style planet amongst the Pleiades. And so when I'm showing her this, I'm basically showing her a level of Venus, too, in all of you. So it's very multidimensional, this energy. It's very heartful. So as we were sitting, he's explaining that indeed we are in the Pleiades, but it has a very Venetian feel, this particular planet that we're at. And the Venetian feel is beauty and love and passion and all things cohesive, natural beauty. There's a lot of other words to describe it, a lot of other human words. But what I want to remind you all of you listening, all of you old souls who'd be interested in this type of audio, have incarnated to the Pleiades, and 99% of the time to Venus as well. So you're getting a little taste of both, and they're just reminding us of the reasons we incarnate to this particular planet in the Pleiades and Venus is because we desire things to be beautiful. We know what beauty and heart energy and resonance can look like. And that's what makes us super troopers to be incarnated on the planet now, because we can bring back that memory of what is beautiful, what is functional, what is sustainable, what becomes so natural and universal that it starts to glow with the beauty of Venus and Aphrodite herself. I said, I don't know, this is good stuff, though. I'm drinking this like it's a well-made wine. I'll tell you what. He goes, yeah, you guys are going to like this because you're into beauty. You know that beauty is in the center of the energy of the image. So Venus isn't just beautiful. It resonates actual beauty. The planet that we're on, a Venetian-style planet, and the Pleiades resonates incredible beauty, which then just makes it attractive. It just changes the look to beauty. It changes for everyone. They say on Earth, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that is so true because everyone has a likeness of what Venus and this Venetian planet and the Pleiades look like, but it changes per person, like perception. The eye is, I know the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It is a perception, no doubt. So they're just pumping all of our chakras and meridians full of what would be the most pretty, beautiful, luxurious clamshell goddess energy you've ever seen. And we're taking shots of that. We're all getting drunk on it in this auditorium. This is all very energetic, of course. And the Venetian is like, I'm glad you guys like this, and I want you to saturate your soul in it because you're going to take it back and wring it out all around where you live, all the people around you. It's a resonance. You soak it up, and it absorbs into the people around you. So we're bringing in the goddess energy, the energy of beauty, and the essence of all things physical are temporary, and the only thing that resides is energy and frequency. And if that's beautiful, the outside can't help but be gorgeous. And so the Venetia says, all right, you've had enough drinks of goddess energy. Let's get you back. You guys are going to go on another journey, and you've had enough to drink. And we say, oh, well, come on, how about one more? And he says, get over here. And so we start walking back toward the town center, passing all the beautiful emerald buildings, just kind of standing and milling around in the town square, getting one more view of this beautiful functionality of a city and bringing back the memory and the awareness so that we can bring essences of this functionality to our very stage, the very stage we're at of building our new future. And so as I snap my fingers, 1, 2, 3, you're back under the tree with me. We all can fit because, again, there's no time or space, actually. So as we sit under the beautiful tree in the rolling hills, I'm going to have you go ahead and feel that grass. Notice that tree. Touch the tree if you want to. Ground into Mother Earth, because I'm going to hand you over to Leah. The Venetian says, until next time, the Pleiades will take you on your next trip, but I'll be around. And I say, thank you, sir. And I'm going to hand you over to Leah. Leah.
So making yourself comfortable here, and we're going to find our physical essence just a little bit differently this afternoon. So within your mind's eye, from the tree, begin to transport yourself to the coast. So your favorite coastal spot, be it the Caribbean, East Coast, find yourself on the sand, and I want you sitting in meditation right as where the waves of the ocean start to kind of tickle your toes as you're sitting on the sand and just feeling yourself sink in here. And we're going to call in Aphrodite. And I want you to start to feel the lower half of your body energetically. Where does it light up as you feel the presence of Aphrodite moving into your meditative space? So born from this clamshell in the ocean, right? We are here. This is like full-on Cancer energy. And Aphrodite wants to give us this passion and this desire to just be so intimately connected with the world in which we are living right now. So just notice what's happening energetically, right? Like, where do you light up? What chakras begin to spin? What colors do you see? And if it resonates with you, we're going to ask Aphrodite to just kind of charge us with passion. So if there's something specific in your life that feels really heavy, using this energetic alchemy and the help and assistance of the goddess Aphrodite to transmute that heaviness into desire and passion and a lust for life. As we work with the world, as it changes and shifts for the greater good, knowing and trusting that there are going to be lows, right? But we have all of this divine assistance and all of this power within ourselves to remain inspired and committed to just being aware and fully present of the process. And as Aphrodite comes through, she's saying things like, there is no honey without vinegar, right? Like, we have to allow ourselves to be present in the muddy, bitter aspects of this existence in order for us to really drink the divine sweet nectar that is the honey. So as you're sending this goddess energy, this passion, this lust for life to these areas of your life that feel heavy and they feel old and maybe even a little bit toxic, and we're just alchemizing it here. Taking some breaths into the belly and noticing in what chakras you begin to feel this transmutation. Breathing deeply, softening the muscles of the face, allowing the jaw to relax, creating space between the teeth. And if it feels good, begin to just start moving around in your body. And maybe you have like your own music, your own soundtrack in your mind. Maybe you're just moving to the waves. But can you begin to embody this physical essence of passion and sensuality and allow this energy to dance through the chakras as you begin really subtly, eyes still closed, to just move your body. And Aphrodite says it's these practices of connecting the body to the spirit where we begin to really feel into our intuition, our essence, our higher self. And notice if you feel uncomfortable here. And can you alchemize that discomfort into something that feels inspiring? And something that charges you up? And something that allows you to feel this old energy and weight of this dimension, it all just starts to fall away. Take a couple more rounds of breath here. Maintaining a visual and imagery of this coastline, of the waves, maybe of Aphrodite herself, whatever resonates, whatever holds your heart and your intuition here. Continue to breathe. We're moving really subtly. And giving yourself permission in this moment to break the ties that bind you egoically to what it is this chapter in your life should be. You have full permission to create, to change your mind, to grieve, to rejoice. You are fully present in this dimension, in this life, and you are divinely guided by the goddess, creator, source, spirit, however you resonate. And we're just taking some time to move this stagnant energy through. Let's take about 5, maybe 8 more rounds of breath. And this is your practice. This is your journey. So whatever this looks and feels like, and Aphrodite says, you call me in whenever you need this, sister. We are in this together. You have the power to create, to experience, but more importantly, to feel every aspect and every emotion as it arises. Ego-related, heart-related, joyous, scary, whatever it is, give yourself permission to feel and take this in and process it, so that we come out on the other side more in tune, more embodied, and more empowered. If you're still moving really slowly, just kind of start to find a place of stillness. Continuing to breathe with intention into the belly really deeply, and maybe out through the mouth. And settling in here in your mind's eye on the coastline. Thank you, Sister Aphrodite, as we move into this next chapter of our journey with Mandy.
So as you find yourself nestled on the coastline, take a nice deep breath and imagine, feel, pretend that you're laying on a nice warm beach. And there's glistening water everywhere as the late afternoon sun starts to caress you. Your body feels warm and safe and held in that complete ease. You can sense the breeze blowing along your face. You can smell fresh seawater. Almost cleans out your sinuses every time you breathe it in. And as you're laying, you turn your head and you look towards the water. And you start seeing these kind of sparkly lights, and you're not sure if it's the water, if it's the sun hitting the water, or if it's an energy. And as you keep looking and wondering, it starts to drift a little closer. And you start seeing these beautiful, sparkling, light blue balls of light. And they begin to gather more and more over the water. And they start to come towards you. Suddenly you see these lights are formed into a gown. A beautiful, long, light blue, sparkling gown. And as this energy comes closer, you feel at complete ease and peace, and almost like there's this overwhelming love that's coming through. And as it comes closer, you realize that it's the shape of a woman. You're not sure who or what it is, but it keeps coming closer, and you know it's coming for you. As this energy approaches you, you say, "Who are you?" And she says, "Hi." She says, "I am Mother Mary, and I represent the goddess and the energy that comes from the Divine Mother. My form of Mother Mary was absorbed in Christianity, and it's something many people are familiar with, and I have always honored what the goddess has requested." So you take a deep breath, and she says, "I came to you today because I'd like to do a little bit of healing on you. There's so much going on in your world right now, and there's so many changes, and there's so many feelings rising within you. And I specialize in helping with nurturing." So she says, "Take a deep breath, and I'm going to come through and shower you with some beautiful healing light. I'm going to remind you of a few things, some things that you can remember to nurture you at this time. Yes, it's important to rest and eat good food and drink water and have sunlight and all of those things. But what's even more important is what's going through your mind and your heart space in and out each day. Though it's important to honor our feelings, it's also important to not live in them for too long. I see that you've been through a lot," she says. "And I want you to know that all the things you've been through do not define you. You have an opportunity in every situation to heal and grow, as hard as that situation may have been or as uncomfortable. Sometimes there's great fear that rises within you, and it's okay to allow that, but it's also important to remember that it's there to serve you. It's either there to protect you, or there's often great reward on the other side of fear. And I want you to know it's safe for you to trust your intuition. It's safe for you to trust what's rising in you, what you want to create and give birth to. It's safe to follow the things that light you up and make you happy and bring joy into your life, especially right now, while all the constructs that you know are beginning to crumble a little. It's important to take some time and find your own foundation. You are strong and independent. You have boundaries, and it's okay to respect them. No one and nothing can take your power away from you. You have everything you need within you. And even on your worst days, you are far more powerful than you can possibly imagine. We know some of the things you went through have encouraged you to maybe hold on to some grudges or resentment or fear or pain. I'm just going to stand over you and over your room space, and I'm going to ask that you allow that pain to be released to me and that fear. And I'm going to take it and transmute it and send it back out into the sea. It's no longer serving you, and you do not need to hold on to it. I also want to remind you that it's safe to forgive. You can forgive yourself for holding on to fear or pain. You can forgive others for the fear or pain that they caused you. As we move into forgiveness, we have greater understanding for ourselves, for others around us, for life on earth, for the elements, and for what our purpose is here. And though it's hard and it's an act of courage and bravery, I encourage you from this point forward to move forward with compassion and kindness, not only for yourself, but for everyone and everything around you. Though it's important to take action and to help yourself, it's also important to trust that there's so much more out there that just wants to support you. Now, there's some ways that you can control some things that might come up your way, and it might be hard, but there's ways to do that. So if you do your best to speak with integrity and to be honest with how you feel, with what's rising in you, with what's falling away, if you do your best to speak highly of yourself and others, you do your best to avoid gossip, it will make such a difference in your life. It'll also help if you choose to not take things personally. Almost anything others do is not because of you. We're trained to think that. On your planet, people tend to think that really easily, but it's not because of you. It's because of projection of their own reality. And it's important for you to stay in your true foundation and your peace and send others love for their opinions and actions, but do your best to try to not be the victim of it. And if it feels that way, do your best to breathe and transmute it into even more love. Sometimes our minds can get the best of us. We get out of our hearts and into our heads. We begin to make assumptions. And that leads us on a whole world of sometimes wonderful creation and creativity and manifesting. But sometimes it can lead us to some sadness and misunderstandings or drama that could have been easily avoided had we communicated. So I'm just encouraging you as you transform yourself and your life right now to stay rooted in your lane and try not to make assumptions. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Our minds can get very creative and very exciting. But when we do our best to stay centered in our heart, magical things can happen. We begin to release judgment and self-abuse and regret and wonderful things as we call our hearts home. As I move a little bit of this energy, I'm just realizing that there's just a little bit more down by your feet at this time. So I'm just going to come in and take all of the energy that's making you feel a little stuck or grounded or afraid to take a step forward. And I'm just going to move that and transmute it and heal it and infuse it with all kinds of divine love. Thank you so much for taking this time with me, she says to you. I'm going to go now back to where I came from, and I'm sending you all the love, light, and opportunity that this world has for you. And if at any point you need some nurturing, just remember to come back here and to breathe and remember being by the sea with me. And you can call on me at any time that feels in alignment with you, or when you feel a little scared, lonely, or sore. And just like that, she begins to walk away. And you open your eyes and you see her walking towards the ocean. And she ends up starting to dissipate into beautiful balls of light. And you take a breath and you come back into your heart space. We thank you so much for joining us here on The Witching Hour with myself, Mrs. Elam, Jenny McDaniel, and Leah Sugart of the Greenwich Village. Have a beautiful week.
You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio, a network of shows offering healing and guidance for your beautiful journey. Tune in on Mondays for the Alchemy Sisters, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, tune in and tune up. Body Awareness and Self-Care, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, One for All is Love, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, Unbound with Cynthia Martin, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Fridays, The Witching Hour with Greenwich Village and the Alchemy Sisters, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, Rain Radio, 10 Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, Creating Heaven on Earth, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the Heart Over Ego Radio Network.